Next, we're going to take a look at probability. So we will use some of our counting principles in order to determine probability. You're most likely familiar with theoretical probability, and that's what should happen in an event. So for example, theoretically, when you flip a coin, 1 out of 2 times that you flip, you will get a heads. But we all know in reality, if we flip a coin 10 times, we might only get heads 4 times, or we might get heads 7 times. We're going to start by focusing on the theoretical probability, and later in this unit we'll look at what's called experimental probability. First example, we're going to take a look at some basic probability. So when you roll a die, remember a die has 6 numbers on each side. By the way, die is singular for dice, so if you're confused about what a die is, I'm talking about 1 instead of 2 or 3 dice. So on a 6-sided die, there is 1 3 out of 6 possible sides. So theoretically, 1 out of 6 rolls, you should roll a 3. What's the probability that we roll a prime number? Prime numbers are divisible by 1 and themselves. So prime numbers have exactly 2 factors. So for example, 1 is not prime because 1 only has 1 factor, which is just 1. The prime numbers between 1 and 6 are 2 because only 1 times 2 is 2. 3 because only 1 times 3 is 3. 4 is not prime because you can do 1 times 4 or 2 times 2. 5 is prime, and 6 is not prime. You could do 1 times 6 or 2 times 3. So we have 3 prime numbers out of 6 possible numbers, which simplifies to 1/2. So make sure you always give your probability in simplest form. And our final probability for rolling a die, what's the probability we get a number greater than 4? Notice it does not say greater than or equal to, so we will not count 4. There are only 2 numbers greater than 4 on a die out of 6 possible numbers, which simplifies to 1/3. Next, we're taking a look at marbles in a bag. If we shake it up and pull one out, what's the probability that we get, in our first example, white? There are 9 white marbles in the bag, and there are 25 total marbles. If we add up the 6 red plus the 8 blue, that's 14, plus 2 is 16, plus 9 is 25. 9 over 25 does not simplify. Our second example, what's the probability that we get a primary color? The primary colors are red, yellow, and blue. So the 6 red plus 8 blue is 14, plus the 2 yellow is 16 out of 25. Again, 16 over 25 doesn't simplify, so we're done with that one. The last one, what is the probability that we get a color that's not red or is blue? Well, since blue is not red, essentially what we're really asking is, what's the probability that we don't get a red color? So we get 25 minus the 6 red gives us 19 marbles that are not red out of the 25 total marbles. Our final example has to do with a deck of cards. The longer I teach, the less it seems my students know about what's in a deck of cards, so I have it all listed out here for you. There are 4 different suits: the hearts, diamonds, clubs, and spades. Hearts and diamonds are red suits, and clubs and spades are black suits. Within each suit, there are 13 different cards: ace, 2 through 10, and jack, queen, and king. Those last 3 are called face cards. When you look at a deck of cards, the jack, queen, and king all have faces on them. So what's the probability that we pull a 5 out of our deck of cards? Well, there's 4 5s because there's 1 in each suit. There's the 5 of hearts, 5 of diamonds, 5 of clubs, and 5 of spades. Out of 52 total cards, because we're talking about a standard deck of cards, 4 out of 52 simplifies to 1/13. What's the probability that we get a red face card? Well, there's 3 face cards in each suit, the jack, queen, and king, times 2, because 2 of the suits are red. That will give us a total of 6 red face cards out of 52, which simplifies to 3 out of 26. And finally, what's the probability that we pull a card out that is not a club? So there are 13 cards that are clubs. So if we subtract 13 from 52, we get 39 cards that are not clubs out of 52, which simplifies to 3/4. Here's your you try question. Use the spinner to answer the 3 questions.